Chapter 2 of Why the UK's Most Infamous Serial Killer Was Never Caught. The man's description seemed like a breakthrough. A pale face, the witness told police, his voice shaking. A mustache, dark felt hat, heavy coat. He walked quick, like he didn't want to be seen, but I know what I saw. For the first time, Jack the Ripper had form. Not just a shadow in the fog, not just a nightmare whispered in pubs. A real man, someone who could be tracked, hunted, caught. Scotland Yard sent officers swarming through Whitechapel. Doors were pounded in. Men were dragged from beds. Mustaches, hats, and coats were suddenly suspicious. The city buzzed with hope and fear. At last, it seemed the Ripper's reign of terror was about to end. But London had other plans. In Whitechapel, pale faces and mustaches were everywhere. Half the men in the East End wore dark coats and hats to guard against the bitter November cold. The description that had promised so much hope quickly collapsed into confusion. Too many match it, one detective muttered, tossing down his notebook. He could be anyone. The witness insisted he had seen the man clearly. He described the sharpness of the mustache, the tilt of the hat, the way the coat swayed as the stranger disappeared into the mist. But it wasn't enough. The Ripper had vanished back into the crowd, swallowed by the very city he tormented. The ghost had a face, yes, but a face shared by thousands. Meanwhile, Whitechapel was drowning in fear. The murders had already terrified the poor, but now the middle class and wealthy could not look away. Newspapers splashed bloody sketches across their front pages. Men carried torches and sticks, claiming they would catch the Ripper themselves. Women huddled in groups, whispering about the monster in the night. Some swore they had seen him, a cloaked man lurking in the fog, a shadow standing still at the end of the street, a tall figure watching from an alley. Fear painted him into every corner. He became more than a killer. He became an idea, a phantom. And phantoms cannot be caught. The police were desperate. Scotland Yard pushed detectives to their limits. Some argued it had to be a butcher. Who else had knives sharp enough? Others believed he was a surgeon. The way he cut, they said, showed skill, knowledge, precision. Inspector Aberline, one of the lead detectives, slammed his hand against a table during a meeting. "We are hunting a man who knows these streets better than we do. He walks them as if they are his own. He vanishes because Whitechapel itself hides him." But not everyone agreed. Rumors spread of cover-ups, of secrets too dangerous for the public to know. Some whispered the killer was a wealthy gentleman, even someone close to the royal family. Could it be that the police weren't failing, but protecting? Names began to surface. Suspects rose and fell like smoke. Montague John Druitt, a barrister found dead in the Thames weeks after the last killing. Suicide, some said. But was it guilt? Had the Ripper drowned himself to escape capture? Or was it coincidence? Aaron Kosminski, a poor Polish barber who muttered to himself and carried strange habits. He was violent, unstable, and often seen wandering Whitechapel. But could a man so easily recognized have escaped unseen after such horrors? Michael Ostrog, a thief and conman with a taste for knives. Was he capable of such monstrous acts? Perhaps. But evidence was thin. And then there was Dr. William Gull, a physician with royal connections. A theory spread like wildfire, that the Ripper murders were part of a cover-up to hide scandals within the palace. It sounded like madness, but madness sells newspapers, and the public devoured every word. Each suspect was examined, interrogated, whispered about. Each time, something was missing. No proof, no bloody knife, no witness who could point a steady finger. And so the list of names grew, but the Ripper remained untouchable. All the while, Whitechapel itself seemed to rot under the pressure. Women stopped walking alone, yet they still had to work. Poverty did not stop for fear. Men patrolled the alleys with lanterns, but fear made them strike at shadows more than criminals. The gas lamps flickered, barely holding back the dark. "I swear he brushed past me," one woman cried in a pub, clutching her shawl. "I felt him. I smelled blood." "You smell gin," a man barked, though his own hands trembled. The Ripper lived not just in the alleys, but in their minds. And then silence. After Mary Jane Kelly's brutal murder in November 1888, the killing stopped. No new bodies, no blood in the alleys, no mocking letters. At first, no one believed it. Every night, women expected another scream to split the fog. Every dawn, police prepared for another nightmare waiting in a yard or a backstreet. But the nights passed and nothing came. Weeks, months, then years. The Ripper was gone. Had he died? Had he fled London? Was he locked away in an asylum, his secrets hidden by padded walls? Or had he simply stopped because he wanted to? The silence was as chilling as the screams had been. The monster had slipped back into the shadows. The police closed files, reopened them, closed them again. Detectives retired, their careers stained by failure. The city tried to move forward, but the scars never healed. And the people asked, why was he never caught? The truth was cruel. The police were not equipped. In 1888, there were no fingerprints to match, no DNA to test, no cameras to capture a fleeing man. Investigations relied on shaky witnesses and gut instincts. In the chaos of Whitechapel, where crime and desperation ruled, truth drowned in noise. Worse still, the victims themselves were ignored. They were poor homeless, women who sold themselves to survive. Society looked at them with disdain. Their deaths shook the city with fear, yes, but did not stir justice fast enough. The Ripper chose them for a reason. He chose women whose lives were already invisible. And yet, even when time moved on, Jack the Ripper never truly left. Every few years, new proof surfaced. A bloody scarf claimed to carry his DNA. A diary filled with confessions. Old police notes discovered in dusty archives. Each revelation promised to unmask him. Each one crumbled under scrutiny. The mystery was never solved. The face behind the mustache, the pale skin, the dark hat remained hidden. Even now, more than a century later, people chase his shadow. Historians argue. Detectives dig through old reports. Tourists walk the streets of Whitechapel at night, guided by storytellers who whisper about the women who died and the man who killed them. Some say Jack the Ripper is the most famous killer in history, not because of how many he murdered, but because he was never caught. And perhaps that is the darkest truth of all. Because monsters in chains are frightening, yes, but monsters in shadows are worse. Monsters who walk among us unnoticed. Monsters who brush past us in the fog and vanish before we turn. Jack the Ripper has become more than a man. He is a warning, a legend, a whisper in the mist. And if you find yourself alone in a dark alley, with the lamps flickering and footsteps echoing behind you, don't look back too slowly. For some say he never left at all. Some say his shadow still lingers. And some believe the Ripper is not a ghost of the past, but a lesson of the present. Because monsters don't always die. Sometimes they simply disappear.